Welcome to my humble little office. My name is R. Keith Andrews. I am a spiritual guide and paranormal adept. The journey continues today on June 21st, 2023 at approximately 4:24 p.m. PST. Now, I've returned to this world for one primary reason, and that is to remind people that working together, we can make this a better world for virtually everybody. I bill myself as a spiritual guide because the tools I offer are the ones I personally use in my day-to-day life. And the philosophies that I talk about are the philosophies I personally live by. Now, before I get into it, I was going through my message, through the comments in the show yesterday, and was asked to discuss hotheads and how to deal with them. Now, of course, being a real hothead when I was growing up, that was kind of one of those things I went, well, yeah, there's a lot to it. Now, before I get into it, we have Adam is in with the gold. JCL has shown up with the silver. And then Emi Tonga has come in with the bronze. And it does sound like my throat is doing wonderful things, but we're going to see how that goes. Now, and there we have Derek coming in with honorable mention. Oh, okay, Derek, we won't give that to you. Sad to say, but this is one of the odd. Now we're just going to go really sideways on you. In today's education system, everybody gets a gold. All get a ribbon for showing up or for participating. Doesn't work well. The reality is it really doesn't work all that well at all. But Derek goes, I was first. Yeah, that's it. We're going to fight in spirit. And here's the neat little thing. Being first in spirit is really necessary. The neat part there is when you get your mind set on what you're aiming at. I was watching a show the other day, and I forget exactly what the name of the show was. I even forget remotely what the name of the show was. But I know the show had a title. Okay. I think that's pretty much a guarantee. But when the lead character was a child, he told everybody, I'm going to be a billionaire. Okay. Now, he did begin, everybody told me you can't do it. You need all these guidelines. You need to do all this stuff. You're not going to be a billionaire. So just get over it and deal with the fact that you're not. And all the way through the show, he's constantly going, I'm going to be a billionaire. Okay. The drawback was, he did become a billionaire. The drawback is he also became, shall we say, a not nice hole. Okay. In my case, I've decided, here I am, 60 years old. I'm going global with this newsletter that's going to be a magazine. It will remain free. Okay. Derek says the secret of my success. 1980s movie with Michael J. Fox is a great movie. Absolutely. Now, here I am at 60 years old. I decided I'm going to build a publishing company. I'm going to build a conglomeration that is global. Okay. That where the newsletter, what will become a magazine, will be free. Okay. It's going to, I was told flat out by somebody today, well, how are you possibly going to do that? You can't afford it. I'm like, I can't afford not to. And how I'm going to do it is exactly how I've already laid out. I forget exactly who it was yesterday that made the comment. Okay. They went, look, I just ordered the newsletter. And therefore, Keith, you are global. Absolutely, Derek. The moment you utter it, here's the thing. You can be number one in spirit without any problem. But I will tell you, the moment you vocalize it, you draw that energy out of the spiritual world into the physical world where it can be made manifest. As soon as you put it on paper, all of a sudden you are now looking at something that is even bigger. Okay, that is even more powerful. As a matter of fact, let's see if I've actually got it here. Where are we? I've got to look at... Oh, I don't have it open. So that's fine. We'll just do it this way. I go... Is that the one I need? That's July. Perfect. So I take July, we just called it up, and now we go print. I just replaced my ink. Actually, it was funny. I knew I had to replace ink in my printer. Only I couldn't figure out how to get it out. Now, this will give you an idea of just exactly how technologically adept I am. You know, I turned around and went, I can't figure it out. So what do? I call up my other half. She's blinder than a bat in a different country. 5 minutes on the phone with her, and all of a sudden, I've got the ink. You know, I've got the ink out and ready to go. What do we do here? Well, I must print that off already, but so I got to figure out who I didn't send one to. That being said, and there we have it, the first edition of Positive Perspectives. This, and I did like Emmy's idea of keeping a hard copy on file. You know, I've got it on soft copy anyway, but it's already gone global. Okay, as was pointed out yesterday. Now, let me see here. We close that back down because I don't require it. And we minimize that for a minute. Actually, that should have been over there. Okay, what do we got? Hey, Joe, how you doing? Joe goes, I'm right in the middle of dinner, but we'll be listening. I'm still getting that annoying scam email about my photo stream shutting down. Got one just now. I'll tell you, the number of scam emails that keep coming up, you know, there should be something about that can be done. I'm cautioning you as Mary, like, absolutely. When you get an email, if you don't know who it is, run your cursor over top and just hold it over top of whoever the email is. It will give you an email address. If it looks questionable, do not even open the thing. Okay. Now, Derek, I just got to see. I don't know. I should have. I'm just looking at my database here. Wrong database. One. There we go. And yeah, Derek, I don't have a problem with it. Matter of fact, absolutely. Where it comes to the email, all I need from you is a quick email stating that you'd like to subscribe and whether or not you desire a soft copy as an email or a hard copy. Okay, and somewhere in here I've got everything I require. Let us see. What the heck did I do with that? I just love trying to do things when I don't know what the heck I'm doing. That's always fun. No. I don't want you to run. Thank you very much. Let's go back in my email here. Oh, bonus. Okay, going into email now. And what is that? Is that the right one? that's the right one. But I have a sneaking suspicion. Yeah, you're funny. I get it. See, it's amazing. I go in a spam. You would not believe the number of companies that keep writing me a message. Oh, we notice that your website isn't perfect. We notice it's not perfect, but you give us money, we'll make it work better. I wish people would listen. Even on this stream, I'm not taking on new tasks to pay people to make the website better. It's not going to happen. I've spent way too much money. Yep. And, as long as you didn't hit any hot links there, Joe, you're not in too terribly bad a shape. This is why when it comes to my sending an email to somebody, especially if it's a newsletter, what I'll be doing is I literally put on it positive perspectives, such and such a month, such a month and year. That way, when you get it, you know where it's coming from. Now, is it possible something could go sour? Absolutely. Hopefully, I'm in the right email. I am, so. We double check that, and it's not there. We go into spam, which I find quite often things go into, and then I have to move them. Yeah, I just have a problem because the way I look at it is this. Well, why would I have that? I did not require the jump tracks. Derek, there it is. It has just shown up. And let us see here. Okay. Perfect. Okay, and all I got to do, let's open that up again so I can actually get it sorted around. Did I do that? No. So we open that, and this is what's called live stream. This is live stream. This is why with this particular setup, I can turn around and go, okay, this is what I'm working with. Where are we here? Print. And now that we've got print, we hit print and see what happens. And it's popping out what it requires. Yeah, in all fairness, Joe, I do that quite regularly. Like, I'll go into my spam and double check and go, okay, like just now I went in and went, okay, Derek had an email he needed sent to me, okay, for me to deal with things. So he turns around and ships it. Now, I have decided on something, and I just don't have a way around it. But, and there we do, Derek. Hard copy in hand, in my hand, not in yours. And rest assured, I will not be, I've got your email, your address here, and rest assured, guys, there is no way on the planet, not that I know of at this point, that anybody's going to get into my database. Let's face it, my database is right here. Go ahead and try and get into it with a computer. That ought to be fun. Like I said, the only time anybody gets into my database is if the police show up and go, I need this and we need this information. Okay, I'm not fighting with the police. That's just the way that goes. Shadow, how you doing? Glad you could join us. Now, Derek, in your case, I will be sending it out. I will be sending it out tomorrow. Okay, because I got to go out tomorrow anyway. But I looked into it, And the unfortunate part is the cost is absolutely stupid. Now, nice part about the cost for me is this. It's all a business expense. Works out kind of conveniently from that standpoint, which is why I don't worry about it. Okay, but I get a lot of emails I'm looking at going, why, pray tell, am I bothering with it? Why am I getting all this garbage? Okay. Oh, Cowie, I did not see you come in. Welcome aboard. Glad you could join us. And let's shrink that out of the way just so I don't have to deal with it. And we have got to go up. Where is the other one? Nice thing about having three different screens I can work with. That was not what I needed. I require, well, don't do that to me. That one. Take this and move it over here out of the way so I can still see what I'm up to. And we go Shadow and Sun. Where are you here, Shadow? Copy that. And guys, this is the link to Shadow's channel. Okay. Absolutely drop by, listen to what he has to say. If you like what he's saying or if you like the things that he's showing you, give him a big thumbs up and share and subscribe to the channel. Okay. This is where we start to make this world change. Okay. Now, right now, by the way, I did start tracking what my distribution is going to look like. Okay. And, because of that, I will be able to keep on top of it. But the reality of changing things, and yes, we will get back to the hothead thing in very short order. Okay. Now, the reality of it is I grew up a hothead. I would go from absolutely dead calm to absolutely dead calm and trying to physically kill somebody. Not a good combination, by the way. Okay. Oh, before we get into this, if you do like the stream, do me a favor, give us a thumbs up, and do subscribe to the channel. Okay. I'm not going to be ending this stream anytime soon, and I will do what I can to make certain that the whole thing goes the right direction. Now, let us see what we got here. Yeah, of course, I can't figure out where I belong. Like, why would that be any different today? Whoop. That is interesting. Oh, that's because it's supposed to be in here, I think. Of course, I could be mistaken there. I'm not seeing what I used to see, and this is just, it throws me for a loop. But in any event, what we are looking at when you're dealing with somebody that's hot-headed, or when you're dealing with these scams that can be absolutely annoying. Okay, first roll with a scam. Okay, there's a couple that are blatantly obvious. Oh, you're absolutely right, Shadow. Shadow's going, I think I'm not alone in thinking we could all use a nice vacation and just cool off. Am I right? Tell you, I'll give you a thumbs up on it. Because from my way of thinking, I absolutely feel that we could really use it. Now, from my standpoint, I looked into the price. My trip to Texas is not paid for yet, but I did go looking into the price to make the trip. So, am I going? The answer is yeah, but that won't be until October. Now, I will tell you this. In the week, and this is way ahead of time, when it comes to my holiday down in October, I won't be on the stream at all that week. I'm taking my computer with me, but I won't be streaming. Okay. Now, why, pray tell? Oh, there it is. Couldn't see it before. When I take a look at it, when you're dealing with hotheads, the first thing you've got to do, absolutely imperative, you've got to remain calm yourself. Remember, karmic law number 1, do unto others as you desire them to do unto you. That's actually number 2. But, when you don't desire to get yelled at, do not start off by yelling at people. It does not work well, not to keep them calm anyway. Okay, one of the best things that I found where it comes to dealing with a hothead, if you're dealing with somebody that just emotionally comes off the rail, there is no functional way to deal with it. You just got to cope with it until it's done. If you think you're going to be the one triggering it, there are a couple of things you can do. Number 1, warn them ahead of time that what you're going to tell them isn't necessarily going to be, they're not necessarily going to like it. Now, you guys have heard me when you've asked a question. You've asked me a question, I'll say, look, I can give you the answer, but you're not likely to enjoy it. The reason I do that is because it already gears you up for a possibility. Now, yes, hotheads can go off. Once they go off, button your lip. Okay. Now, this does not always work, and there is no 100% way of dealing with every hothead. Okay. People that are looking for a fight are going to find one. Okay. The best you can do is turn around and go, okay, I'm not buying into it. I'm not participating in this fight. Okay. Now, there are all kinds of ways to draw you into it. And I can't even begin to shut them down, to point them all out. Terry, how you doing? Glad you could join us. One day, I do that often enough. Like, that's just a letter opener. Don't worry about it. But I've got a spot up here in my counter, like in my desktop here, that holds my letter opener really nicely. And I figure sooner or later, I play around with this often enough, and I'll be able to put it in without any problem. But that's going to take time. It's kind of an odd way of looking at it. And by the way, letter opener, not a good way to handle a hothead. Okay. But when you get your mindset on accomplishing something, okay, the first thing you got to do is take all of the energy you can and focus it into that focus. When you're dealing with hotheads, they have a tendency to getting derailed really easily, and that becomes a problem. Okay, so what you look at is, okay, you're going to say something that this person, if you already know they're a hothead, it's easy to set them off. This said, be sure to take... Yeah, well, we are not answering that. It can go away. It'll eventually quit ringing. I still have trouble trying to figure out how to stop it from ringing without answering the dang thing. But it doesn't. But, and this is the thing. Unknown callers, by the way, because I've told you guys, if you're trying to get a hold of me, text me ahead of time. Absolutely do. But unknown callers, if they are not a 1-800 number or 188 or whatever, okay, if they're not known, if you will, as company callers, if I don't deal with them, I'll check my messages. If you don't leave a message, and rest assured, scam artists traditionally don't leave a message. Okay, but when you get a goal in your mind, first rule of thumb is take everything that's blocking it and redirect the energy so it no longer blocks. Okay, so what I've done here, okay, is I'm starting to track, from my standpoint, I'm starting to track a lot of things to make certain I stay online for what I'm aiming for. Now, I'm going to watch this whole newsletter, which will in time become a magazine. Like, just to give you an idea, guys, this newsletter is 6 pages. Okay. Now, what you're going to find with it is this. Okay. The newsletter to start with has 6 pages. But when you open it up in 2 pages or per sheet, I am only looking at minimal advertising. I will eventually turn around and sell advertising once things have moved where I can deal with that. Okay, but I gotta work that side of it out. But hotheads are a pain in the neck. Okay, and what I mean by that is if you're dealing with somebody that is short-fused, understand it may not be under their control. They may have no clue how to avoid it. You know, because what happens is with some people, like in my case, literally speaking, we found out way down the road. We found out why my temper was as bad as it was. I was actually, to start with, I was not diagnosed solidly as an epileptic. Like the epilepsy, they diagnosed right away, but they didn't realize what it had done to my temper. Which, by the way, it took all the warning lights out of the equation. And what would happen is unfortunately, it still works that way to a degree. Fortunately, in my case, it became an issue of being vocally aggressive, not physically. When I was a kid, it was very physical. But if you know you're dealing with a hothead, number one, do your best to avoid setting them off. Okay, that's the first thing you have to look at. And what I mean by that is if you know triggers that'll set them off. Okay, like I'll tell you right off the bat, if you're ever dealing with me, okay, do not make the mistake. If you're ever dealing with me face to face, do not make the mistake of going, your opinion is wrong. Because I'll tell you, in everybody's case, your opinion cannot be wrong. Your facts may be wrong, the information you're working on may be incorrect, but your opinion of those facts cannot possibly be wrong. Okay, now that said, one of the things you can do is if somebody starts getting off the rail, okay, and you got to be quick with it, it takes time. Now, I figured out how to do it, and Lord knows how I manage that. But I've never been popped for putting my foot in my mouth. As in, I was sitting in the bar one day, and I think I told you guys about this. But I was sitting in the bar, and this guy was yelling at the woman that was with him, going, you're the reason I drink. It's your fault I'm drinking. Now, why he didn't hit me, I have no idea. Because I just looked at him and I went, excuse me, are you actually trying to tell everybody in the bar here that this young lass here, this woman that is that would fit in one of your pant legs, is holding you down and physically pouring alcohol in your mouth? Are you trying to get us all to believe this? And I looked at her and I said, look, no offense intended. Turned back to him and I says, she may be the most annoying woman you've ever seen. She may cause all kinds of stress for you. But you're still the one taking that bottle and upending it. Right. I said, are you trying to tell everybody here that she's holding you down? He goes, well, no, that would be kind of stupid. I says, pretty much. Now, why he didn't hit me, I don't know. Okay, but it did kill the argument in a hurry. The thing with hotheads, and you yourself may have, if you are dealing with a short temper, the best thing I can suggest to you is if somebody says something that starts to get under your skin, come right out and warn them. Okay, come right out and tell them point blank, this is annoying me and I'm going to get mad. Okay. Now, some will say, well, if you know you're going to get mad, well, just don't. That doesn't work very well. Yeah. Adam, how you doing? Glad you could join us. Don't think, yeah, I sent yours off. I think yours went out there. See, this is a nice part. I can look in my database. Oh, Adam, that's correct too. This is your file card. That's why I had the other one written off. It will be going out tomorrow morning because I've got a game tomorrow afternoon. Oh, did I already send you a copy of Positive Perspectives there, Adam? I'm just trying to figure out because I apparently forgot to write it down if you did. If you did, I won't send you another copy. I'm just making certain of what I'm dealing with. But yeah, I was looking at what Adam said here. He goes, the woman in the convertible in front of me is wearing a pirate hat. Oh, perfect. Okay, well, I appreciate that. Because I was just looking at this, Derek, and, it dawned on me after the fact. Where are we here? Oh, that's because that's wrong. D. What in tarnation did I just do with it? I was just looking at it just not 5 seconds ago. No, because I just noticed, and this is the thing. Okay, I just noticed on your card that I actually asked. That you had actually asked for the hard copy, so it will be sent out and sorted around. Well, that is, I could keep going back and forth through this until heck freeze is over. But that being said, oh, wait a minute. I think my brain is going on hold here. Get that out of my way. This is why I call it live. And it is computer, so that always makes it fun. Where are we? That one. Yep. Okay. And yeah, I will, the hard copy. Okay, I'm glad you got the email. And like I said, if you want both, that's not a problem for me either. I just need to know, that's all. But I've got your hard copy. It'll go out tomorrow morning. Because the way I look at it, the only way I'm going to make things happen and the only way you can change things, if you've got a temper, I will tell you the best thing you can do that I've ever come across anyway is for you to take a look at it. The moment you start feeling yourself getting agitated, come right out and literally take a breath. Take a breath and warn the people you're dealing with. Look, this is a topic that isn't going well. Okay. Absolutely, football, and welcome aboard. Glad you could join us. Football goes walk away. Absolutely. And I will tell you, there are people out there that will stand right in front of you and block you from moving, from leaving. This is not going to end well. Okay. But do the best you can. In time, you'll figure out how to do it, but it takes practice. It takes focus. Okay. I know from my standpoint, I was on a show a while ago and they got into a political thing. And I don't do politics. There is a reason for it. And Joe's going, I haven't been back in the cemetery for my walks in weeks. During the daytime, the nighttime, no way. Even though nothing will happen. I used to live in the country. Right now I'm living right in the heart of a I don't know, I think it's called an urban area. I'm not in thick housing. Well, I'm in apartment blocks. But, from my standpoint, it boils down to this. The less I am around a whole pile of people, the easier it is for my nerves to stay settled. Okay. But will I meet people for coffee? Absolutely. The reality is there's only one restaurant in the city I go to. Okay, and yeah, that's kind of bad news for some people. You know, but when you're dealing with whatever project you're working on, whatever goal you've got, if you've got a short temper, taking a break from the situation, telling people, I'm not dealing with this right now, so we're going to drop the subject. Do your best to be polite about it. Okay. Absolutely do your best to be polite. Okay. Now it doesn't always work, but do your best. Again, do unto others as you desire them to do unto you. If you don't desire people to swear at you or to swear in your presence, clearly don't swear. Okay. Don't desire people to chew with their mouth open in a restaurant or even at the dining room table, make certain you are leading by example. Okay. Oh, quite frankly, football. Yeah, I will try foreign cuisine, absolutely. Part of the reason I don't go to restaurants is my finding my way to them and then back is a problem for me. So I found one restaurant. I know where it is. It's easy to go. I know the routines. In case you couldn't tell, I don't handle change well. Okay. So I just work with what I've got. But yeah, I have tried. I don't eat overly spicy stuff. You know, I do, like I eat, when I talk about Chinese, do understand Chinese food in Canada and in the United States usually isn't Chinese, it's westernized. So I have no idea what real Chinese food tastes like. I do know that East Indian food is way too hot for me in most cases, but I do enjoy Greek food. And that I've tried some pretty good Greek food. You know, I just tend to avoid the real spicy stuff because I don't enjoy the spice. You know, primarily because of the fact that, well, as a neighbor pointed out today, spice doesn't burn. What it does is draws the toxins out of your system, which is great. Okay, but it doesn't change the fact it feels like it's burning. Derek's going, Reese's Neutrogena's king size candy bar is really good. My my son pooped his pants, so I'm eating it. I'm not entirely certain that's a necessarily a good idea, but so I'm eating it in front of him and acting like it's the best thing ever. Yeah, no doubt. But sometimes, and the funny thing is, as we all know, kids have a temper. Okay, they haven't learned how to deal with it either. Yeah, somehow I don't think that's necessarily going to work that way. But Adam's going, I had to bite my tongue last night at the Edmonton yard. Guy I was dealing with was hostile for no reason to everyone. Well, we'll back that up just a fraction. Clearly, the guy had a reason. You may not have known what the reason was. Nobody may have known what the reason was, including him. Okay. But just a curiosity thing. Just a little curiosity thing. Did anybody ask him why he was mad? Okay. The reason I ask is there was a situation a few years back in the park before the lockdown where there was a kid that showed up and he was throwing his bike around. He was yelling at everybody that was within earshot. And everybody was saying, oh, stay away from him. He's just a creep. Well, I looked at the bunch of them and I said, hey guys, did anybody football? The answer is I only caught part of the blurb. I just caught a little blurb on Facebook. My son was watching something earlier and they just got a ping off it. They may have tracked the sub down. I don't know what they're doing yet. I don't know how they're dealing with it because, like I said, all I caught as I was coming down to go live was that they got a ping. So I don't know if that means they actually found it or not. Give me 5 seconds. I'm going to do something really bizarre here. Well, not really. Half a moment, and I will be right back, hopefully with an answer. Cameron. And welcome to live stream, people. I just went and asked both my boys. And both of them said that they may have found, they may have heard some knocking, so they think they're in the area, but it has not been confirmed, found as of yet. And that was just from both my boys, just right now. So, and they do watch the news a lot more than I do, which, by the way, is setting the bar really, really low. Okay. What do we got here? Because I walked out and everything keeps going on. Anyway, when this kid showed up, he was mad at a wet hand. And I asked the group, did anybody ever ask him what was wrong? And everybody's like, no. I said, well, I'll tell you, there's something going on at home because he showed up here mad. So there's got to be something going on. Well, one of the kids decided to take a step, in the right direction and went and asked him what was up. As it turned out, there was problems at home. The long and the short of it was that those two kids became good friends. I don't know if they became best friends or not, but I know they became friends. But yeah, the reality of it is that there is a whole lot of complications going on, and lots of people get real short-tempered in today's world. And I will warn you guys, football goes, I'm down in Texas and it's 100 degrees, right? And the hotter it is, especially if humidity is up, the more difficult it is to maintain temper. Okay, unless you're trying to keep your temper really high, at which point it works like a charm. Now, what do I got here? Oh, that reminds me. And Derek, as soon as I double check that, or did I put it behind me? Nope. So we take a look at Derek, because I could have sworn I had it written down. Okay, I'm not going to keep going through that. But, Derek, there we go. What I'm going to mark on your card is both the hard and the soft copy. To me, it's not a problem. Okay, because like I said, soft copy obviously comes hand in hand with the internet. Hard copy, for me, the reason I'm not worried about charging for it, period, is because of the fact that, first of all, any of that expense is all a write-off anyway. I get a kick out of this. You guys are talking sports, which is great. I know sports is a real important factor, but you'll find when you get to the sports section of the newsletter, you'll find the easiest way for me to deal with sports. Because needless to say, I'm on a cane. I've been on one since I was 12. I don't do a whole lot of running. I'm not sure why. Although I'm really good at a three-legged race, you would think. I'm actually not. But when you've got an idea going on as to where you're heading for, okay, as to what you're looking for, I got to figure out where that is. So I will, and that one's all done. I wonder. Yeah, let's not do that. Let's just use the notes and what have you. By the way, I figured something out really nice from my end. I mentioned to you guys that 80% of the income that I make off of anything with the business, 80% of it is going out to staff and the customers. Okay. Now, I figured out just how little it requires because with the way income tax works up here, I take my cost because I work from home. So I take the cost of my house, okay, and whatever I pay, I take the amount of room that my office is in, which is 10% of my house, and I can discount and I can actually cut back on, I can claim 10% of my utilities and everything else. Okay, this is why when I look at my overhead to run my business, now talk about a low overhead. I'm a firm believer if I can kill my overhead, I will. My overhead to run my office, the computer, everything, is a whopping, mind-bogglingly high $200. Okay, that's it. Now, my time I don't bother booking for unless I'm doing consulting directly. Okay, but here's the nice thing that happened here. Where'd it go? Not there. There we are. The good news. Okay, yesterday I went and picked up the box of these. These are now in print, in stock. Okay, and again, if you get too much on the plate, this can really shorten your amount of time and the amount of time you can handle your temper with. Christine, how you going? How you doing? I trust your day has been productive. The more focused you get on what your life is doing and on what you desire as an outcome, the faster things move in a positive direction. Now, the thing, from my standpoint, gee, that came out like really good English. And if you can't tell that was sarcasm, there might be a problem with your reception. Okay. But you'll notice what I've done with the newsletter, there is pretty much as good as I can do it. I will be going after the whole 9 yards as soon as possible, which, by the way, means tomorrow, because everything's closed today now, pretty much. But I'm starting to make everything run in the way that I feel is right. Yeah, Christine's going, just worked and ate veggies and chicken. Yeah, and things are going really well. My son's dresser arrived, so he's got his bedroom cleared out properly and stuff put away. So he's happy about that. My other son, he's been home for 3 days sick. It was a question of, he ended up coming down a little ill, but his graduation ceremony is on Saturday, right? So I'm like, if you don't end up in school, the trick is make sure you're healthy enough to attend grad, right? Because that's the critical factor. Oh, yeah, the younger one, he just came down with, I don't know if it was a cold or the flu, For me, I asked him, I said, how can you guys ever tolerate that? They get ill, they're sick for 2 or 3 days. I don't honestly recall being ill in the last 25 years, unless we count 2 bouts of food poisoning. Actually, maybe the last 40 years, 2 bouts of food poisoning, 2 bouts of alcohol poisoning, a number of heart attacks, 1 major, and a stroke. Plus a couple of toothaches. I just don't have time to be ill. Okay. And rest assured, like you look at this morning, for instance, where are we? This is the 21st. Yeah. So I got to bed at midnight last night and was back up at 4 o'clock this morning. Now, what do we got here? Let's get that out of my way. We have here, Christine goes, yeah, my son and my daughter would get sick a lot. She was usually stressed with school, working hard, not sleeping enough, and kids pass germs on to each other easily. Absolutely, they do. I just can't be bothered. JCL is asking, not exactly asking, you're a fun writer. Got a free chapter on Amazon some time ago. Can't wait till my books arrive. Yeah, do let me know when they do. I know they're en route. I don't know if I know how to track them, but I know I sent both of them out. That was the easy part. I just got to go back through things and figure out how I did that. But both of them are out. I will be, I will be finding new ways to do that. I've got somebody actually working on bringing the cost of shipping down for me. Because I'll tell you, the cost of shipping is insane. And, that's a problem. Eventually, I'll be able to absorb it, I hope. Well, no, eventually I will be able to. But the reality is, as I said, I don't do anything that is, I don't do anything, very much of anything for free, aside from the fact that I am dealing with charity work and what have you, but it's charity done my way. Oh, Amazon. I can't even list on Amazon right now as far as the novels go, because a company that I trusted to help me and that I paid a small fortune to help me absolutely crippled my access to Amazon, which is why I don't deal with Amazon at this point. Although I'm going to see what I can do. I might end up working with it, but these guys, all of these self-help books, all these ones marked Believe in Your, okay, the whole 9 yards come out at $20 in your hand, okay, and as long as the cost of printing and the cost of shipping stay handy, thank you very much. That was actually, all of these were designed by my printer. It's absolutely fantastic. I went, here you go. Here's what I need. This is what she came up with. And she goes, that's your first draft. I'm like, now what pray tell do you mean it's my first draft? It's like, to me, that was perfect. She's already got the next 4 books in hand. I don't know if she's been working on them. Now, who sent me what? Oh, okay. The nice part about it, and I do appreciate the comment there, Darren. Well, back that up. I do appreciate the comment there, JCL. I do like to enjoy what's going on, and I certainly am aiming for everybody to be completely absorbed in the stories as they come out. Now, do understand, novels, bit drawn out, absolutely graphic. This is not a child to read. This is not a story to read to your child. Football goes, how does a tent indoors stop brothers from fighting? Well, oddly enough, it gives a sense of isolation. It also gives a sense of adventure to the brothers. Okay, depending on how old the brothers are. We used to have tents in our bedroom. When I was growing up, we had 5 kids and 5 boys in the same room. We had a double bunk on one side of the room and a triple bunk on the other. And I'll tell you, falling out of bed is painful. Falling out of bed from the top bunk is painful. From the third bunk, okay, which, yes, as you surmised, we were looking at 9 feet in the air. When you fall out of a bed that high, it's more like skydiving without a parachute, and hurts pretty much a lot. Okay, yeah, guy, and I do agree with you in a way that football goes must be a guy thing. It's kind of an entertaining thing, but when you find something that can distract people from the stresses of life, whether it's building a tent, building a blanket fort, whether it's sitting down having a tea party, okay, if you're sitting down having a tea party, this can help draw people into a calm situation. I don't know the entirety on how it happens, except I'm absolutely certain that it's based on the subquantum impact. Okay, and we'll get into that a little later. But when the thing is, the calmer you are, the more organized the energy in your house is, the more calmer you're going to be, and the easier you're going to find it to deal with people that are natural born hotheads. And there are people like that never learned how to cope. And I will tell you this, for those of you that aren't already aware of this, many people say, I'm going to have a beer to relax. This is one of those things that I call a definitive oxymoron. Alcohol doesn't help you relax. Alcohol literally knocks out your trained and learned inhibitors. Okay. In other words, your coping mechanisms go out the window. This is why, if you want to sit down and have a drink, it's really kind of a questionable way of looking at things. I'm wondering, I understand that, I do appreciate that, JCL. And what JCL said is, I like how you describe the most deadly of people sitting calmly by with a pleasant smile and demeanor, ready to annihilate if need be. The thing with that, I mean, the lead character in the Yldrbac Chronicles is a chap by the name of Jeremiah Wollstrom. Now, the reality of it is, Jeremiah is a pacifist. He will talk his way out of whatever he can. Okay, but boy, are you in trouble if you push the wrong button. Because, as we found out during the game when I built him, what ended up happening is he would try and talk his way out of everything. But he could kill in 5 different fashions with his eyes closed. Quite literally, he could. He learned how to fight that way. But in The Birth of the Wolf Pack, the first chapter, there's a hint at a fight. The second chapter, there's a very detailed conflict. Okay. Literally, it's a bloodbath. 10-1 odds. 7 dead, 2 walk away, and 2 are badly hurt, and the last one walks away in one piece. Well, runs away in one piece. That's against the pacifist of the wolf pack. Okay. Now you can picture what the rest of it's going to be like. But this is because, I grew up and there was a real simple way of looking at that and where this ties into this whole thing of being a hothead. Okay. And I forgot to write, haven't written it in yet, but it's got to be written in there because there was one game session where Jeremiah, I wasn't in the mood for fighting that night. Right. And of course, when I say I'm the one that actually built Jeremiah. So the game master tried drawing me into the fight. And he brought over somebody, and one of the NPCs turns around and looks at Jeremiah and says, "Hey, Jeremiah, your friends are in a fight." Jeremiah's sitting there having his rye. And he looks over and goes, "Yeah, but it's only 3-1 odds. They're fine." Right. So I carried on drinking. Now, in reality, at that game, I too was drinking, which worked out well. But then George, the game master, also the guy that built Mickey Finn, brought the fight to me, and the guy took a poke at me with a knife. Now I just gotten my helmet painted, and so he strikes, and he does 9 points of damage to 10 points of armor. And all that Jeremiah did was his head comes back, and he feels across where the gouge is. He looks at the guy, and he goes, "You scratched my paint." Stands up, hits him 3 times. The guy drops dead on the floor. Jeremiah sits down, picks up his drink. At that point, the game master just goes, "Scrap it." Adam's just pulling into Red Deer, safe and sound. Okay, absolutely, Adam. Obviously work has to come first. This is why, when Nathan is popping in and out, we keep an eye on it, keep him up to speed. Okay. I am looking at a whole pile of things, and like you'll find, those of you that are getting the newsletter, okay, I am putting excerpts of different things in there, depending on what comes across my table. One of the things that I'm going to have to really look at it, because Joe, you brought up a really good point. Joe is actually the one that I think it was Joe Stewart there that actually put the request for dealing with hotheads. He wrote it in to the notes on the video. Okay. And it's little things like that I will be adding to the newsletter as it goes along. I've already started writing August. Okay, I've already got it laid out, and I've started putting things together for it. And yes, I will be taking, I do desire in the near future here, not entirely certain when I'm going to work it in, but I will be putting excerpts out from other people. Okay, just little blurbs if people have submissions they'd like to put out. The reality is, am I going to pay for them? Well, I'm not charging for it either, by the way. However, will I give credit to people that have written something? Absolutely. Guaranteed one little detail. The fact that it gets submitted does not mean it will automatically go into the newsletter or into the magazine. It does mean that if it does go in, I will give credit. Whoever wrote it will get recognition for it. Okay. But like I said, the reason I won't be paying for it is, frankly, I'm not charging for it either. Okay. And, where I will pay for it is in time, and I've already started putting it together. I will be putting together a poetic anthology. But here's the difference. Now, I mentioned the other day I'd done one. Now look at this. Okay. This book here. Okay. I don't even know where you would find it at this point. But if I open it up. Oh, I underestimated. That's always neat. Okay. Now, this book here, years ago, I'm telling you, I was absolutely dense. I didn't look into any of it at all. But they charged me $75, okay, to get my poem into this book. Okay. I thought it was a good deal. I was wrong. Joe, where are we here? Joe goes, "I'd like to get your newsletter, Keith. It can be on my online newspaper in the morning with coffee." I can absolutely do so, Joe. The only thing I require, I'm just going to double check because I don't think I've got it, but I do want to make sure. Nope. Okay, all I need from you, Joe, to get you the newsletter. Okay, all I've got to get is drop me a line so that I've got your email address. Okay, and to do that, where the heck is it? Let us bring up that. Send me if you would be kind, whoa, that is wrong. Copy that. Send me just a quick note stating that you'd like to be on the subscription list, or that you'd like to subscribe. Send me an email to that address, and make sure you include your email address. Obviously, you will if you're sending me an email, and I will get it out with email. I can get it out tonight for you. Okay, that's the easiest way to do it. The nice part, like, I am trying to get into the 21st century, but boy, am I having a hard time with it. The nice part about it is right now it's a small newsletter. In time, it will be, and I don't know how big I'm going to let it go. Question for you guys, which I'm dead, this is literally a question I don't get a lot. Okay. Wonder if this, this was neat. Okay. Wonder how many pages that is. Okay. That's not bad. Okay. I won't be doing it, like, I'll be doing it differently than this. But the only reason I'm showing you this magazine is because of something really silly. Back in 2008, I was dating a young lass that was really interested in music. Okay. So I got a 6-year subscription. I was hoping the thing between us would last forever. Kind of like I'm hoping the one I'm in is. It will. But we went our separate directions. And at the end of the subscription, they sent a card with the magazine saying, if you don't want to receive this anymore, just send this back and say, cancel the subscription. I sent 2 of those and 3 letters directly to the company asking them to stop sending it to me. The only thing they did, and this is back in 2010, I canceled it. Right? No, I actually canceled it in 2014, but, I canceled the thing, sent them 2 cancellation cards on the ones they sent, 3 letters to their head office saying, quit sending me the magazine. The only thing they did was they quit charging me for it. And for the last 13 years, for the last 10 years, I've gotten a copy of it every month without fail. Okay. Every month I've been getting this thing. I've been getting it for free. And I'm thinking, well, it's not cost me a plug nickel. But this particular magazine has, what has it got? It's got 70. Now, here's the thing. This particular magazine has 78 pages. But when you scan through, and you'll find this with virtually any magazine, there's pages and pages of advertising. Great big glossy pictures. I'm not a complicated individual. At least I don't think so. So will it get bigger? Yes. I don't know how big I'm going to let it go. I will find a point where I say that's where it ends. Right? But that being said, I still won't be filling it chock full of advertisement. So what do you think? We take a magazine this size. You open it up. Let's see if we've got one page that works. Like, there's so much ads in this, it's absolutely insane. And they call this a magazine? I'll be looking at, on a page that size, when you open it up with 2 pages, the most advertising you're going to see is probably about half the size of this picture, or maybe half the size of this one. You take your pick. Pictures might be another issue altogether, but the reality of it is, I'm not putting in, pages and pages of ads. I don't agree with it. If you're looking for a magazine, if you're looking for a newsletter, I'm not about. And Terry goes, He just got to his destination. Oh, wow. Enjoy the show there. Terry's he's just got to his destination. He's going to see Peter Frampton at the Rose Center. Have an absolutely stupendous day there, time there, Terry. Glad you could drop in. When we're looking at this, I'm going, look, I've talked about we've got to change this world. Hotheads and pushovers both have a definitive place. Okay, don't get me wrong. I'm a firm believer that dealing with hotheads is no fun. Okay, I do not like taking people that take advantage of pushovers either. Okay, the reality of it is it takes all kinds of people to make this a better world. World, how you doing? Glad you could join us. And where did I put it? Right here. Oh, I gotta get back to that other thing. Where are we here? World. Way down here. This is the link to World's live stream. And again, absolutely drop in, listen to what he has to say. If he says something, if you like what he's talking about, that came out well, didn't it? It's kind of like I'm talking away and okay, that killed off the idea of stumbling over it. But if you like what World's got to say, if you like the videos he's doing, give him a big thumbs up and do subscribe to his channel. Okay. The nice part about this, and I'm finding this much, much more prevalent lately. Okay. I'm looking to make a solid impact here and really help, and really help people by leading by example, and that's the only way you can do things functionally. Okay. If you're aiming at changing something around you, lead by example. As the saying goes, be the change you desire to see. Okay. From my standpoint, I just got fed up with being too stressed out. So I found ways of doing it. One of the reasons I write the way I do with the Yldrbac Chronicles is because of the fact that when you're dealing with them, okay, when I'm having a lot of stress, if I'm having a bad day, I can write a beautiful, what I consider a beautiful fight scene. If I'm having a good day, then there's other things that work. But no matter what I'm doing, I'm writing in 6 different genres. Okay. Will I be putting together and that's one thing I will be including. As a matter of fact, guys, here's the question for you. Well, I'll give that question in a second. I mentioned this is the book I was referring to. Now, when you think about it, I thought it was a good deal they were offering me. Okay. I thought they were offering a good deal. $75 to put this poem together, to put my poem in their anthology. Well, they did send me a copy. So this book in my hand, and this is 25 years. Well, what year was it? This was in 20, so this was 25 years ago. Okay. I paid $75 for this hard copy book. Okay. But get this. Now, where did my brain box go? Right there. $75. The smaller or the less occupied pages have 4 poems per page. Okay. And how many? I'm just doing a little bit of math here to give you an idea of how bad of a deal I made. 420 pages. Okay. Now we cut through the index. Just looking to see where the poems actually stopped. They did give proper credit. Okay, but 361 pages, minimum 4 poems per page. Okay, so we take 75 times 4 poems per page times 361 pages. Okay, now let's see if we take, so we look at, let's just write that down. This is where my mathematical brain gets me in trouble. We got 361 pages. What is that? $108,300 is what they got paid. Okay. And they charged me 75. That's charging me 75 bucks. Okay. Now, I don't know what their shipping cost was. Okay. But let's assume, let's just take that 75. They charged us $108,300. Now, get this. When I got the Yldrbac Chronicles printed, it cost me $1,000 to get 50. Wait a minute. Where did my brain box go? Yeah. Cost me $1,000 to get 50. Okay. Now, this was way back then. And they had 361 times 4. So they had 1,444 poems. Now, that's on the bottom end. Okay. That's how many they had. If we charge that, even back then, because it was still more pricey, but let's assume that they paid times 20 bucks. Okay, they paid 28,000 out of 108,000. They got us to pay for them to print a book that they made literally over $90,000 on our work. Okay, now when I said I will put a poetic anthology together, I will. Okay, and I've got to work out the details on that one. But the reality of it is, there is no way I'm stacking it that high. Oh, thanks there, world. The reality is, from my standpoint, it's the one thing, like I used to, if you look back at my old videos, my hair used to come down to here past my elbows. And I never did anything with it, really. JCL goes, Duke, don't make me afraid to go back in the woods. I ran into Bigfoot personally. I ran into them personally when I was a kid. They are some of the gentlest people you'll ever meet. Huge, absolutely. But I'm telling you, they are gentle people. Where it comes to Bigfoot, you really don't have to worry about them. The water, on the other hand, that's another issue. Yeah, it does. Now, the reality is, Christine, if I could figure out how to get my teeth to do that, I'd be really happy. Because that's the thing I'm trying to figure out. But I did find from a senior today that told me what I might be able to do. Okay, he gave me some tips. Doctors won't tell you how to heal. This much is blatantly obvious. Okay, but they do have more knowledge than the average person. In my case, they just can't keep up with it. But let's go back down to that other thing here. When you're dealing with people that are hot-headed, that tend to get agitated right away. Okay. Yeah, I can't imagine why the world goes, most Sasquatch are sweethearts who are rightly scared of us and don't trust our intentions. Well, you think about it. Here we have advertising all over the world. We're going on a Bigfoot hunt. The clue is in the word. If you're going hunting, if people announce they're going hunting for deer, ever notice the deer have the same idea? You'll see them all over the fields, all over the areas where you're going to go hunting if you're a hunter. Until hunting season. As soon as hunting season hits, these guys go to ground. I mean, that ultimately is the bottom line. For me, much as I prefer game, venison, that sort of thing for food, much as I do, I can't go out and hunt for a lot of reasons. One, I can't handle the death of another animal well. And two, and this is debatably more important, I go out in the woods, somebody better be sending 911 after me to find me, because I have no idea where I'm going to end up. Yeah, world goes, I never go hunting for Bigfoot. I go visit Bigfoot. And that is the greatest way. My first encounter with, my only encounter with Bigfoot was I got lost. I was only 4 years old-ish, and I wandered away from my campsite. And I can get lost walking around a tree. I mean, that's just the reality of it. But I got lost. And this kid, and after I met his father, I knew he was a kid. Bear in mind, at 4 years old, you're only like, 2.5 feet tall. Right? So this kid comes up, this huge kid. He was double my height. Finds me and takes me back. He leads me back to their campsite. The mom and dad are sitting on a log on a deadfall. And the kid is telling the parents what was going on. A lot of chirps, a lot of whistles, a lot of clicks, right? And they turned around, and once they got me calmed down, we worked out a way to get across where I came from, because I had no idea. I just knew I came in what they saw as a box. So the father at that point leads me back to where the box was, and I spotted mom and dad, and it's like, okay, I can see him. That's Sam. So the father gently pushes me out. He put his hand, and when I say he put his hand across my back, I mean my entire back. And he gently guides me forward. As soon as I come out of the bush, I ran straight to mom and dad, and the guy was gone. Never saw him again. Okay, but the reality of it is that was one of the most gentle humanoids I'd ever run across. Okay, saying, they are absolutely fantastic people. Derek goes, Super Duke is a forest daywalker. He's a forest daywalker until a vampire daywalker like Blade comes along. Absolutely, Christine. Family has to come first. Absolutely has to come first. At least in my opinion. But when you're dealing with whatever you do to release your stress, this is imperative when you're striving to deal with hotheads. The calmer you are, the less they're going to feed off it. And by the way, just to put that in perspective there, Derek, daywalkers do actually exist. Okay. Fortunately, they're wonder, did I bring that book open? Did I bring that book open? I think so. Races of the Worlds. And we go find. Whoop, that's not Race of the Worlds. There's Race of the Worlds over there. It opened on the wrong screen. Okay. So I'll pop that open. And we go up here and we go find. There we are. Shadow Walkers, also known as Sanguinan. Okay. Absolutely. Some of them are violent as all get out. Some humans are violent as all get out. But you got to remember, with the Singinan, with the Shadow Walkers. They are hunters. It just so happens they hunt humans. Okay. Fortunately, like most, they go after people that are not readily, absolutely healthy. I mean, you think about it. Okay, now get this. And this is another reason to quit drinking in excess, by the way. You take a maraschino cherry. It tastes like a maraschino cherry. You take a maraschino cherry and you soak it in alcohol, it's got one heck of a different flavor. You take a person, their blood will taste one way. You take a person and you soak them in alcohol, their blood takes on a whole different feel. Okay, well, the Singinan find the same thing. They pick off an alcoholic, and they get alcohol, they get blood alcohol, which is great. I mean, the Klingons like it. But one of the things you got to remember, okay, when we're dealing with life, it really boils down to 3 laws. Be true to yourself first. Do unto others as you desire them to do unto you. And energy out, energy in. Okay. If you stick to those 3 laws, a lot of your life would go a whole lot more smoothly. Okay, and I know this from practical experience. I've been living that way pretty much my entire life. Yeah, the good news there, world, is you take a drunken vampire and the man cannot fly straight. And I'll tell you, it's funny. They get too drunk, they can't run all that well either. And I'll tell you, that's where walls come in real convenient. Like was said on, now what was it? On the Avengers, when the original show, when the aliens were attacking. Yeah, right. And Hawkeye turns around and goes, I can tell you, they don't bank worth a dang. That wasn't quite how he put it, but you get the idea. Drunken vampires have the same problem. They move like the wind and run into the wall at pretty much the same speed. Yeah. Yeah, World's just telling us he grew up in the woods and would rather live like they do if my puny human body could do it. I'm more relaxed when camping than at home in town. Okay, and you're absolutely right. World's going, they can read that, presumably meaning the Sasquatch. They are quite at home. Let us see if I've got that. Hope so. Now, that's because that's in book 2. Okay. The sad part is, in Races of the Worlds, and you'd think I would have got it, I would have grabbed it. But Sasquatch is not in volume 1. It is, however, in volume 2. The neat part about all of this, and I love seeing this. Here's JCL going, she's trying, JCL, and I shouldn't say she because I can't recall one way or the other which. But JCL is hoping to visit World. And this is the thing. This family unit here, this chat room, is chock full of examples like this. Never let anybody in here tell you that this is trolling, that talking to each other is a bad thing. Okay. It really, to my way of thinking, this is a microcosm of the world that I desire to see evolve while I'm still here. It's funny, the guy I was talking to today, and I suspect he's in his mid-80s. He looks at me and goes, you're 60, now's the time to die. I'm like, I've already done that. I've already got the ball cap. I've got the t-shirt. Right. I'm not dying again anytime soon, I don't figure. I'm actually in better health now than I was 30 years ago. You know, but here's a question for you guys. Okay, especially those of you that have positive perspectives in your possession. If you've got an idea of things that you would like to see in the newsletter, do me a favor and drop me a line just like you do regarding the streams. Okay, drop me a line and let me know if there's something you would like to add. And yes, in answer to that question that nobody's asked, I am in the next edition, in August edition, I am going to be writing an article on hotheads and how to deal with them. Okay. And again, this really boils down to an issue of simply finding tools that can work. Okay. It doesn't guarantee they'll work. And I will tell you, no matter how much effort you put in, you're going to have a hard time protecting people from themselves. Okay. So, yeah, but this is something I do desire to see happen, is the newsletter grow. Okay, into the size of a magazine. In time, I will end up taking a look at it and going, okay, all I have to do now, to be honest, it doesn't cost a lot to ship out on email. It can add up to a fair chunk going out snail mail. I don't care. Okay, from my way of looking at it, and it's funny. I asked my son if he wanted a copy. The one son goes, send me an email copy. The other one goes, Dad, can you print one off for me? He says there's something different about holding it in your hand. Now, this is a kid that is only 18 years old. And even he turned around and said there's something very different about having a physical copy to hang on to as compared to a email copy. Okay. But again, I'm a firm believer. This is my way of reaching out and saying, let's turn things around. And like I said, if you're striving to change the world around you, lead by example. If you feel people have to be more open, more, a little bit friendlier, as in you'd like to see people when they walk by you saying hello. Okay. When you walk by a total stranger, say hello, say something. Now, you will get some really stupid people calling back to you. Absolutely. Yeah. Derek's going, I grew up playing outside barefoot in the creeks behind my house in Hampton, Virginia. All kinds of fiddler crabs, old bicycles, etc. See, I didn't play out in the bush much. Of course, every time I went out in the bush, I ended up getting lost. So I just came to the conclusion leaving the house wasn't a real great idea. When I can get lost in my own house, going outside is not one of those things I call enjoyable. It's just one of those things that gets to be a little bit of a hiccup. Okay, that being said, it's not that I'm afraid to go out. It's just that I don't see the point in going out. I leave my house to go to Wings, to go to the grocery store, and periodically, actually quite regularly, to take my son over to his mom's. Right. Other than that, I don't leave the house a whole lot. I don't see the point. Of course, that and the fact I really don't have a lot of spare time. And yes, I do know that I could make the time. That said, like I said, if there's some section in the magazine that you think would be a good addition or a good article or a good staple part of it, okay. I did make the magazine years ago, and I may eventually go back to that. Years ago, I put the magazine out in this size, right? And yes, I do actually have a stapler capable of doing that, right? And I may eventually go that route. But for the moment, it's going out the way it is. Actually, that's not entirely a bad idea when you think about it. But when I look at this world, a lot of people talk about what's going wrong. A lot of people look at hotheads and go, they are absolutely the bane of enjoyment. Okay. And, the fact of the matter is that they can be a pain in the neck, but there is a reason why they're hotheads. Maybe they grew up in a bad environment. Perhaps they've just got a real bad way of dealing with the world. There could be any number of things. The trick to it is understand that, yes, some people choose to be dipsticks. Absolutely they do. I remember one day I said to somebody, I said, have a great day. And the guy spun on me and he looks at me and goes, don't tell me what kind of day to have. And I'm like, okay, you really did walk into a wall. I'm thinking this to myself. I didn't actually say anything about it. But everybody has their stress points. Everybody's got complications. Okay, some people just handle it better. And one of the biggest things that I can tell you about anybody that you know is a hothead, if you know they're a hothead, think before you speak. Okay, if you're a hothead, think before you speak. Kind of works out well that way, doesn't it? Okay. Oh, by the way, sidetracking, yeah, I do that a lot. Because of the fact I'd run out of them, okay, got a whole brand new set of these. That's the bookmark that comes with every book that I actually send out. Okay. And like a couple of people have told me, remember that thing I mentioned about take these 4 words. I am worth it. Put them on your fridge. You can do that right away with this. A little bit of a roll of masking tape on the back. You can put it on the fridge, and you get to see this every time you walk into the kitchen or into your office or wherever you go. It was funny. I was working at a fair one day. I had a whole stack of business cards. And the woman looks at me and goes, can I have one of those? I looked at her and I said, yeah, I guess. So I was actually thinking of wallpapering with them. But, that's me in my mouth. It gets me into trouble sometimes. Nothing like a neat little book. Found this one in the lobby one day. So I use it now, to hold my bookmarks. I can find them easily. Kind of works out nicely from my end. That ain't going to work well. I was lucky where it came to the woods. Every time I got stressed, we had a little copse of trees we had a quarter acre copse of trees that we could go out and play in. They weren't huge trees, but they were big enough to be called trees, as in 20, 30 feet tall, that sort of thing. But every time we told them, Mom or Dad, we were bored, they'd chase us outside to play. Right? And again, it really boils down to this. If you're one thing that I have found, if you yourself find that you've got a bit of a temper problem, keep physically and mentally active. Okay, the gentleman I was talking to today, he was out doing a bunch of yard work, and I'm absolutely certain he's somewhere in his mid-80s. But like he said, you have a choice. You can sit down and stare at the idiot box or read your newspaper or whatever. But if you don't get up and move, you're going to get stiff. Okay. There are other ways you can get stiff, but that one, he says, if you don't move, if you don't get up, and he says, even if you don't go outside, grab a couple of loonies or a couple of toonies and throw them on the floor and bend down to pick them up. As you're getting older, he says, this is something that will keep you mobile. Okay. The more active you are physically and mentally, the better your life in later years is going to be. And for that matter, the better your life in your younger years is going to be. Now, I know for an absolute certainty from the people I've been talking to that I'm older than a lot of you. This does not make me better. Okay, might make me a little more cynical, but some of you might be more cynical than I am for all I know. What I do know is that if I can point out a couple of things that you guys can do to avoid some of the pitfalls that I went through, I'm all for it. I have one because I know there's a couple of you out there that are looking at things and you're going, gee, I really wish I could write a book. Okay, or I've got poems I'd love to get in print. In the near future, I will be getting that done. As a matter of fact, make a note of that and I'll go out and deal with it this week. I don't know if I'll do it tomorrow because tomorrow's going to be a little hectic. What are they called? A Notary Republic may be all I've got to do. Joe goes, you'd be surprised at what I've witnessed out and about in public. Someone would tick another person off, and no, that's not what Joe said. Would tick another person off. Next thing I see is that other person taking a photo of a license plate number, of a license plate and taking off. To me, it's not worth my hassle. I can't, like, my ex screams at people as we're driving by. And I'm like, I am too busy worried about whether I'm going to run into somebody to bother taking my hands and hitting the horn. Okay. I just can't see the point in getting that stressed about it. I remember cutting through Winnipeg decades back. Somebody passed out on the road. Now it's 3:00 in the morning. I don't deal, like, I'm not medically trained. I'm not trained to deal with a lot of things. Okay. So I avoid a lot of situations. But I kid you not, somebody passed out in one lane of the road. And people were actually driving around her. Like, they come along, and here's the body. They pull out and go around her and go back into the same lane. Nobody stopped. There was probably 15, 20 people standing around. Okay. Presumably protecting her to a degree. Oh, that's not a problem there, Joe. I do appreciate the apology. For me personally, I don't worry about it. But from what I gather, the YouTube algorithm may. I don't know. So, apology absolutely accepted there, Joe. Do not take it to heart. I'm not upset by any functional stretch. And where did we get here? Way up here somewhere I wrote something, and now I don't know where I put it. Of course, that's how fast things move here. Makes it really, really fun trying to track it down. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, like I said, Joe, just drop me an email as soon as I get it. If you want, the email version, I'll send out the same night. It's on my computer right now, ready to go. So that's the easy part. Now, what do we got here? We pop that to live. And Adam's off and rolling again. Now remember, Adam, if you stay on the sidewalks, you'll run into far less cars. Of course, there's a lot of pedestrians that will complain, so don't go there. There used to be a bumper sticker way back in the 70s, I think it was, or the early 80s, where bumper stickers were the big thing. And they had one that says, if you don't like the way I drive, stay off the sidewalk. Chad, how you doing? Glad you could join us. The reality of it is, now I know Chad has said he's not actually doing his show anymore. But in case you want to take a look at the archives, apparently they are still floating out there. And this is the link to go and find them. Neat thing about the internet is once you put something out there, whether it's good, bad, or indifferent, it's out there. Okay. And this is one of the reasons, and you will find in everybody's closet, you'll always find that people do, and that there is something bad about somebody's past. Okay. And I will tell you, there is no doubt, I'm not going to go into it, but there is no doubt I've done some pretty stupid things. Okay. One thing I will tell you though, is I'm not going to look at anybody's past and say, oh, that makes you a bad person. And your past has nothing to do, or minimal to do, with your capacity in whatever field you're working in. Although it may have bearing on the way you handle things. This is why I warn people. If you run into me, you ever sit down with me, other than my hands don't move quite so much, because usually I'm hanging on to a coffee cup. But the way I am here, it's the same way I am in person. Okay. This is the way I am. I just don't see the point in, when I was doing live readings at fairs, people would tell me, oh, you've got to dress a certain way. I'm like, no, I dress the way I am. If you're looking for my insights, they come with me. One guy told me flat out, you've got to get a 3-piece suit if you're going to be listened to in the business world. And like I told him, I said, hate to tell you this, but if a businessman wants to talk to me about their business, if they're worried about the way I dress, they're not interested in what I have to say about the way things are running. The reality of it is we've got a world that can be turned into an absolutely amazing future. Without war, without famine, without jealousy, this can occur. It's been done before. I lived at a time when that happened. Some 50,000 years ago, we had world peace with over 10 billion people on the planet. Over 10 billion. We're not dealing with a land shortage. We're dealing with a greed problem and a comfort problem. I mean, granted, living in the temperate zone, which is where I live, is really nice. There are people who live in the heart of the jungle. Okay. And for them, that's really nice. But I will tell you, I wouldn't want to live in that kind of temperature personally. Joe, Joe's going, what was the main reason you went reclusive years ago? What actually happened? What actually happened, Joe, was I was dealing with at the time, 10 years ago, I was still working for the psychic line, and they closed the office. And first of all, I only went from home to the office and stayed there, and then I'd go directly home. But I started pulling away from people when I really started picking up on the backbone of everything that was going on around them. As an empath, when I was staying at home, I didn't have to deal with a lot of it. But as I worked more and more in the field, more and more out in public, what ended up happening is I could no longer stop picking up on the anger, the depression, the frustration, and quite frankly, the absolute stupidity of what people were not only doing, but what they were thinking about and why they were doing the stupid things. And I found by pulling away from people, by locking myself in my house essentially, except for going out to get groceries, the necessities of life, I found I was a lot more relaxed and I didn't have to deal with depression as much as I used to. That was one of the primary reasons why I turned around and hid from people. Okay, I've just come to the conclusion, and a lot of this has to do with you guys. Okay, the only way I'm going to be able to really start turning things around here, the only way I'm going to be able to come out and go, look, I'm here to really show you guys that working together, we can make this a better world for virtually everybody. I can't do that locked up in my house. Okay, I cannot do it unless I come out of the hole in the wall. This doesn't mean I necessarily come out for very long. I'll go back to my house quite happily. I don't miss it when I don't go out. But if I'm out too long, and I've shown you guys this before, okay, if you take a look at the letter opener, now it's sitting pretty steady right now. But if I relax my grip on it, this is normal. And when I was working out of the house so much, this was steady. That's why I learned to teach and taught myself to write left-handed. So, by pulling away, I managed to get my nerves a little bit more under control. Made it a whole lot easier to cope. But that said, will I still meet people? Will I still go out for coffee with somebody when they get here? Absolutely. But like I said, there is literally only one restaurant in the city that I go to because of the fact that I'm comfortable there. And yes, that does limit my ability to experience life, but it lessens my ability to have stress-induced heart attacks. Okay, and I don't know about you, but for me, that's a pretty big plus. Am I going to be getting out a little more? Yeah. In October, I'm planning on heading for Texas. Next, whenever it is, I don't know when the SOR party is, but according to Dave, it's going to be in Las Vegas next year. So I will be doing my absolute best to be there. And of course, by then, I should be in pretty good financial shape to make the trip. This year, it's just like all of a sudden, I was completely left out in the boonies. But, let me just see something because I am curious. Where are we here? Refresh. There. From my standpoint, it boils down to this. If I'm going to, I've got to find a way to get outside and get out amongst people again. Yeah, it's definitely outside my comfort zone. If I'm working, it's a whole different ballgame. Do not ask me exactly why. I'm not entirely certain. I just know it is. Okay. Now, if we pop that and go, why, pray tell, does my channel, the chat keeps popping from live chat, which is where I'm aiming for it to be, and pops back to top chat. Yeah, Derek goes, it's the bare necessities of Mother Nature's recipes. And I remember the song, but I cannot for the life of me remember which one of the Disney songs it was. But, that was back when a lot of the movies had a lot more kick to them. In my opinion, anyway. Of course, I'm a bit of a dinosaur in case you hadn't noticed. But I will tell you, if you desire your life to change, you're the one. Yeah, there goes it. Robin Hood, 1973. Thought it was a different movie. But that's okay. My memory has never been something I write nice things about anyway. But when you desire your life to change, when you desire your dealing with hotheads to be altered, that's when you focus on making sure you are staying as calm as possible. Okay, there's all sorts of things that will set somebody off. In my case, it used to be so bad. Thank you so much, Derek. Yeah, Derek just come back. That's the Jungle Book. Baloo the Bear was singing it. From when I was a kid, my temper could go off like that. It was just like kicking a light switch, right? And I literally would go from dead calm to dead calm and trying to physically kill somebody. Dad literally told my brothers, I don't care how you do it, you keep him calm, because my temper was volatile. Not proud of it, it's just the reality behind things. Yeah, I don't doubt it. In all honesty, Adam, when I was younger, I used to dream of the idea of going out on the road, becoming a long haul trucker, so I didn't have to deal with people at all. And then two things hit me. One, I destroyed my leg, and with a right knee that'll dislocate while I'm sitting at the dinner table. With that happening, plus the speed I can get lost, all of a sudden long haul trucking didn't have quite as enjoyable thought process. But I'm absolutely certain, Derek, that there are a lot of people, that you get this urge, you're driving down. I love the show Black Dog, right? Starring, and I forget, it was starring Mel Gibson and somebody else, right? But they turned around, they're driving along and it's like bump, bump. The one guy looks at Mel Gibson and goes, "What was that?" Mel looks at him and goes, "Mazda." And I know there are times, because I drive a small vehicle. Well, I drive an SUV. And there are times I'm like, running over people wouldn't be such a bad thing. It actually is. It's a very bad thing. And I did have I did have the misfortune of actually hitting a pedestrian one day. I can still see the woman rolling up over my hood. Okay. Not a pleasant vision. Speaking of which, when my son was going out to his grad party, I got really worried about it. Of course, you gotta remember, back when I was in high school, I buried a friend of mine that went into a grad party. Okay. I warned her, this is what can happen. And like I told my son, I said, you've got to go. It's really important you do go. But do understand, I'm going to worry. That's just the way that's going to be. I've already buried one friend. I really don't want to bury a kid. Oh, I gotta take a look at that. Yeah, Adam says, send Keith a picture of what I'm holding tonight. I'm presuming you sent it by email, or did you send it by phone? There's my phone. Oh, you don't have my phone, so it wouldn't have been that way. So when it had to have been by email. Here we are. Oh, nice. Now, what the heck is that's a nice rig. I don't know if that is what I think it is. That looks like a Kenworth. But holy mackerel, you're holding both the flatbed and the box? And I don't know, did you actually write down what that is? No. He's got this 40-foot flatbed and a 40-foot box behind it. And I don't know what this is, Adam. Right. I don't know what this is, but he's got some piece of machinery that dang near, and it's got to be an engine. It looks like it's bubble wrapped. Yeah, I have no doubt about that. Oh, that's a Peterbilt. Okay. Nice rig. See, I know the Kenworth, and I am no trucker by any stretch. I know the trucker, the Kenworth, or at least I thought the Kenworth had a head similar to that, but I figured there had to be another one. Oh, by the way, yeah, that sleeper door that you've got on the side, one of the characters in the books, okay, Hablong, that door you see there is 5 feet wide and 9 feet tall, so the guy can get into it. Which gives you an idea just how big the little guy is. But no, that's a beautiful little rig there. What do we got? Yeah, those are duals. So we got 12, 16, well, 4, 8, 12, 16, 20, 22 wheels to haul. And that's just the flatbed and the cab. Yeah, Derek goes, my ex-stepfather had a Peterbilt, and I always liked Peterbilt the best. They haul butt and smooth riding on the haul. And Adam goes, Kenworth and Peterbilt are owned by the same parent company. Why doesn't that surprise me? You know, but I've ridden in very few rigs. You know, I've always enjoyed being up in them, but I've ridden in very few at all. Yeah, I almost just typed. That's the Jungle Book. Yeah, looking at a total of 32 rings on the and 32 tires on the ground. Yeah, I can't. What do we got? Yeah, because there's 22 and 10 on the back. Here's a neat little piece of information for you there, Adam. Okay, Jeremiah. Before you run into him in the Birth of the Wolf Pack, he rode, and I don't know what rig I put him on the front of. That I had what cab he was running, but what you're hauling there is the same size rig he used to run. You know, and like you, and like I haven't developed much of that side of it. Yeah, Derek goes, Peterbilts are ahead of Kenworth, though. But yeah, what you're saying, what you're looking at there, that size vehicle, is what Jeremiah drove before the world collapsed. Hey world, welcome back. We were just discussing what Adam is driving. And I'll tell you, the picture of his rig is just phenomenal. You know, I'm very tempted to if I had a color printer, I would print it off, but black and white, not quite as good an impact. But it's an excellent rig. You know, it really does have a classy look to it. You know, but yeah, that's one of the LA Moon. How you doing? Glad you could join us. Boy, did you ever cut that tight? Yeah, actually, you really did. But yeah, Derek's just asking in case you didn't catch that world. Derek's just asking, what's the biggest Bigfoot you ever came across in your estimation? I know the three I came across, one would have hit, well, like I said, I only came up to his waist and I'd have been about 2.5 feet tall. But his father was another chest above that. Yeah. LA goes, oh, I've been here a while and realized I haven't spoken. You know, but anyway, guys, I really, we are at the end of the stream. Well, we're at the end of the 2-hour mark here. With that in mind, again, if you like the stream, absolutely give us a thumbs up. Do subscribe to the channel and share the daylights out of it. And if you desire a copy of the newsletter coming out, all you gotta do is drop me an email somewhere with a simple request to be added to subscribe, and I will get it to you ASAP. Okay. And are we really that close to the end of the month again? Where are we? Oh, okay. Yeah, we will. Oh, Friday. Yeah, I'll be back Friday. Tomorrow I'm a little occupied. Whoa. World goes, The one that left the 31-inch track scales up to about 16.5 feet. Now that's a big monkey, that one. Okay. Absolutely, I will be back on Friday. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for sharing your time with me. I really do appreciate it. And I will be back on Friday. Until then, do take care of yourselves and each other. And for pity's sakes, stay positive.